All right, welcome back, and we have a gi driller's guide session this time, and we have 4 sessions in one again. So we're starting with Brandon. Brandon's trying to work on getting his open guard a little bit more effective, so he wants to work from the De La Hiva and basically get a sweep. So we've been working a lot on the Barambolos lately, and we've been trying to make sure that we get the ability to do our Barambolos, the ability to chain offsetting our opponent's base back and forth so that they're able to, here's the thing with De La Hiva. If you're not actively using the De La Hiva to offset your opponent's base in every direction, you're going to get passed, you're going to get smashed. So the biggest thing that I'm trying to explain to Brandon is that he has to keep making sure that he's offsetting my base one way or the other, so I never have the ability to just kind of settle in place and start working on the pass. From closed guard, even half guard, if you lock your opponent down, you can take your time to slowly start to, catch your breath and start to work on obtaining a sweep or obtaining a submission. But with these open guards, that one mistake, one grip, one thing's not correctly done, before you know it, you're going to get passed, you're going to get smashed, you're turning things into scrambles that shouldn't be turned into scrambles. So that's really what we're working on right now. Is it's kind of like we have from the De La Hiva the Barambolo, we have the overhead sweep, we have going under our opponent and making sure that they can essentially get a position where you can wrestle up, or get a position where as they're basing their limbs out really far, you can see a triangle, you can see a omoplata, you can see, that's the important thing with the De La Hiva, right? Is we're offsetting their base to open up an opportunity so that we can either shoot a submission or that we can make sure that we establish the sweep and come on top. And this is a really simple one. It's controlling my posture, and then it's making sure that I'm putting all that weight forward with my base so that when I sweep that foot out, it's there's no real resistance. Even right there, he put enough pressure on my knee and he put enough pressure on my forward base motion that next thing you know, it's just taking me right down. And it's to me, it's a really good sweep that I feel like a lot of people don't utilize or think about in the moment. So that's our first session, and now we're gonna move over to myself, and we're working kind of on the Barambolo, but not the traditional Barambolo where we're trying to knock them backwards and then invert and go under them, which sometimes can be harder on your neck and harder on your back. This Barambolo is more designed that we're trying to make them base really hard forward. And as they're catching their base and they're able to establish the base, instead of falling over, they're backing up. And with that, that's where we're chasing the back. So it's taking that right leg that was posted on the knee and originally making it feed into the crab ride. I want the knee, so the De La Hiva leg, and then the leg posted on the knee. I want the leg posted on the knee to spin and turn in behind his leg, so he's almost floating with both of my legs on his back behind his knees. And with that float, it allows me to elevate one more time and all of his weight still forward. That is so easy to either go to the reverse crab ride and chase the back, or it's so easy to make sure I feed into one of my hooks, and once I have one of my hooks, I can chase the next hook. So right here, you can see he's posted back on the back of my shin's posted on the back of his knee, and then it's just a little elevate, it feeds right to the hook. And this was a fun series for me. I really enjoyed this concept of the Barambolo because I never really explored it. I never really thought about it, but it opened a lot of different holes for me that I never actually addressed or added to my game for back chasing. So I got fairly good at the De La Hiva, dumping them to their butt, inverting and going under them, or coming up to the leg drag. but I never really thought about really forcing them to go forward and then chasing to back off that. And the neat thing about it is, even if that fails, there's some good wrestle ups and there's some other good things that you can do even when they're failing from just putting all their weight forward. Again, it's the De La Riva. It's an active guard that you're actively attacking the base and you're actively trying to offset your opponent's momentum, posture. You're not sitting there and just chilling out. You're having to chain and go and not hesitate. Every time you hesitate, you're setting yourself up to lose a grip battle. Every time you hesitate, you're setting yourself up to lose an engagement battle. You have to be the first to engage. You have to be the first to win the grip battle. You have to be the one that is more consistent than your opponent if you're wanting to win small little habits in the game of Jiu-Jitsu. That's all it is. It's winning small battles until you get to the finish. And if you're not embracing that and you're not taking that challenge on, you're going to always be a little bit behind. So that's this session. We are now up to Austin. Austin's 14 years old, if you guys watch previous videos of him. And really what he's trying to do is just figure out his game. He's evolved immensely in the last year. He doesn't give himself enough credit. I think that's kind of one thing that we as humans do a lot, is we're our hardest critics. And with being our hardest critics, we always feel like we're not good enough, we're not doing good enough, which takes away our ability to actually enjoy the journey, to actually embrace the growth, embrace what's kind of taking place, and to realize how good, things are going, or how good we are improving. Because we're not looking at, like, let's say we're not looking at how grateful we are, like, where we started, right? It's amazing if you could have like a video of when you started Jiu-Jitsu, and then like 6 months, and then a year, and then a year and a half. Like, if there could be like a progress video of all your Jiu-Jitsu, and you could just like clip it together and watch 3 minutes of each of those, I bet you would be completely amazed and you would be grateful for how far you've come. Because a lot of people, they just struggle to be able to even create some of these movements or to do some of these things, even as an adult. So as a kid, these kids are doing these insanely good movements and good jiu-jitsu techniques at such a young age that it's like you haven't even started your adult career path in the sport, and you're already light years ahead of most people at 25, 30 years old starting this journey. So he needs to give himself more credit. But with that being said, what he's trying to do essentially is get the shoulder lock that Brandon worked on once, and then have his shin combine with his shoulder lock and allow that to drive forward, and then start working into the Kimura grip. As he works into the Kimura grip, he forces the forward roll. You could go for the arm bar. He's kind of wanting to go into like the knee bar position, even though he can't do knee bars. His biggest thing is he's just trying to chain things together to get ready for his future. And so this is a good one. Like, shoulder lock, forces the Kimura, switches to the Kimura, make sure that he hooks under the leg, forward rolls, and then in that process catches that leg for the knee bar. Little bit still too much bend in the knee. The more the person has the bend in the knee, the more they're going to be able to hip escape out and free that leg and get out of the knee bar. And the last thing you really want to do is go for a sweep and not establish a good point position, because if you're going to come out of a sweep, you have a high chance of, if the submission wasn't threatening enough, of losing the 2 points. You see this a lot when people jump on ankle locks and they don't get a good ankle lock, or they don't get a good submission attempt. They're going to give up the 2 points for giving up the dominant position. So it's just something you need to be aware about with your technique and paying attention. Instead of going for the submission, making sure you secure the position first. Now, Derek does want to work on knee bars, and that's one area this year now he can do knee bars, and he's admitted that he's behind on the whole footlock game. So that's one area that he's really trying to improve on, is maybe understanding footlocks a little bit more better, understanding leg locks a little bit better. And a lot of times where he gets stuck is right in that knee shield position. So by getting stuck here, he's kind of looking for an avenue, instead of necessarily going for the guard pass on jumping on a footlock. And this is a love-hate battle in Jiu-Jitsu because there's two things that your brain is going to turn on. It's going to say, all right, pass the guard, smash my opponent, win the match. Or it's going to say, I can't pass the guard, I can't establish the dominant position, this guy's guard is too good, he's too strong, I'm going to dive on a footlock. Now, I've had this go both ways. I've had many times where I've went for the footlock and I've lost the match. I've had many times where I've went for the guard pass and I've got swept and lost the match. So I can't tell you if there's a right or a wrong, but I can tell you that if you're going to give up the idea of the dominant position, the idea of being on top and taking the risk of getting your back taken or getting, losing the top position, you just want to make sure that you're very secure and you really trust your technique, because as long as you can keep his legs straight, as long as you can keep a good pinch and a good bite, and you can have a good transition on where you want to go when these positions fail. Like when Derek, if this leg lock fails, the thing that Derek needs to be thinking about right now is what is A, B, and C for, okay, I can't finish the knee bar. Okay, he is getting a knee bend and turning his hip, so now I'm not able to extend and put my hips into it. Do I go for the toe hold? Do I look for the wrestle up position? I gotta make sure I don't turn into the reap. Like, all those are things that if you're not training them and drilling them and making sure that they're in play right away during your training sessions, you're gonna hesitate during live rolling, and that hesitation again is gonna put you seconds behind, and that hesitation possibly is going to cost you points or even the match. So make sure that you have a game plan for when these transitions fail. I appreciate you guys watching this session, and make sure you subscribe to our channel for new content every week. Thank you.